Is adding Tommy Pham a necessity for the Padres, Jim, or a luxury? That's a tease. It's the wrap-up show with John and Jim with our brand new wrap-up show gear for the 2024 season. Take a look at these. Yeah, good call. New gear, new season.
New gear, new season,
Oh, you know
new
what?
life.
I could even turn my light on.
That probably would be a good idea.
Okay, guys, we've got about 45 minutes or so here today. The Padres leave for Korea in a week. 1 week's time, they leave for Korea. I mean, what's the biggest need here? Even if Jackson Merrill's on the team, it's still an outfielder, right? You have outfield, DH, back of your rotation. Okay, there's pitchers vying for that spot right now, whether it's Avila, Waldron, Vasquez, Burrito. But they still need an outfielder, don't they? I mean, are they good with Jerkson Profar and Jackson Merrill as two of their three outfielders to start the year, Jim?
I just no. That's the answer to that. No. But I just have this feeling that they're just going to be just absolutely content with what they have going into this season. And you saw Eddie Rosario today signed for like a $4 million 1-year deal. Most of it's incentive based. And if you look what Eddie Rosario did last year, you would take those numbers in a second in a Padres uniform. In a second. I think he had like a 750 plus OPS. He had 21 home runs, played over 140 games. I mean, what don't you like about that player? He's only 31 years old. He's not 36, 35 like Tommy Pham is. Defensively, it's not like you're losing a bunch if you get Rosario over Tommy Pham. It's kind of the same defensively. And he has postseason experience that if you're planning on going to the postseason and if your goals and aspirations are postseason this year, like that's a good thing as well. I just don't understand what is going on here. I don't understand what they're doing, but their actions are speaking louder than their words, and their actions are saying this is what we're going into the season with, whether you like it or not. And you're going to see a lot of young guys, and hopefully they work out.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. It's like there's a fine line between playing young players at the major league level and winning, and playing too many young players at the major league level and not winning. I mean, even if the young players produce to some extent, like we're all at the point where we agree Jackson Merrill is going to be on the opening day roster. Nobody's asking for him to hit 333 with 30 home runs. He doesn't have to carry the team, but he certainly can't be dead weight either. If it's only Merrill and he's surrounded by capable major league pieces in the lineup, and he is to some extent Machado, Tatis, Bogarts off the bat, but you still have Jake Cronenworth coming off back-to-back down years. You still don't have a left fielder if Merrill's your center fielder or vice versa. And by the way, Ha-Seong Kim back strain, precautionary, out of the lineup. Xander Bogaerts playing short today for the Padres, so something to keep an eye on, again, with the Padres leaving for Korea in a week. It's just they're very thin. They've got good players. Kim, Bogarts, Machado, Tatis, no doubt. But from there, it thins out significantly. And to not add any major league piece, like you said, Eddie Rosario, very nice year, very nice deal, incentive laden. Like to go out a piece for $5 million, Jim, when they've actually spent like $5 million all offseason, it seems almost negligent if they didn't add someone that can help their major league team be plugged in their lineup if they could get it done for $4, $5, $6 million like Rosario signed for today.
Okay, so backtrack real quick.
Yeah.
Ha-Seong Kim's out of the lineup today because of a back strain. It's a precautionary move. And Xander's back at shortstop. Why?
Well, Xander said earlier this week that I'm going to ask to play shortstop on Kim's off day, which I don't like. Like you're the second baseman. You're not the.
You need as much time at second base as possible. If that's your new position, you need to be having as many reps at that spot as possible. You're not
right. So why is he
a better second baseman if you're going playing shortstop?
Right. So like, why is he playing short today? Like spring training is short this year. You're moving to a position you've never played.
Yeah.
And you're going to play short today, not second, even though day one of the regular season, you're playing second base in 2 weeks.
Yeah. You need to learn everything you possibly can at second base. This is a position that you said that you will play this year. You chose it when they presented this to you. You said, yes, I will do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you're not becoming a better second baseman if you're playing shortstop.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I mean, he's always been an interesting character. I mean, I like the things he says publicly to the media. I think he's
Very
very
open.
personable. I think he's well liked. He's a two-time champion, but some of it does feel a little bit me first. Now, you could say he's been completely selfless this year, moving from short to second. Maybe he didn't have to do that. He could have put his foot down behind the scenes and not accepted that. But you're either the second baseman or you're not. You're not the second baseman unless Ha-Seong Kim is hurt. You're not the second baseman unless Ha-Seong Kim has an off day. You're the second baseman, man. It's the second year of your 11-year deal. It's not let's do everything in my power to get back to short. Is Tatis on his off days playing short? No, he's not.
Is Merrill playing shortstop whenever? Like,
Yeah, if anyone should be playing shortstop today, it's Jackson Merrill. Because if you're in a pinch, maybe Merrill's your shortstop. Why would it be Xander Bogaerts when you need a second baseman?
For the remainder of this contract, it like Xander's your second baseman for however long you have him until you cut him, or you trade him
until he's the first baseman,
or he's the first baseman, or you trade him for nothing, because he's not making it through his 11-year contract here. I'd be shocked if he does. No chance. No one will be here by the time if Xander Bogaerts finishes his contract. Like, we won't be here. You guys won't be. It just won't happen. Like, he's not going to be the second on this team for 11 more seasons or 10 more seasons or however many seasons it is, right?
Right.
But until he is not a Padre anymore, he is the second baseman. Because next year when Ha-Seong Kim is gone, Xander's not just going to move back to short. Like, that just can't, like, is that just going to happen? Like, are we really going to do that? And then we have to go through this whole thing again of like,
no, you're right. Like, rip the Band-Aid off, man. Why are you playing again in a pinch? Okay, I understand it. Like, you're in the middle of a game and you need to make a lineup decision because someone gets hurt and you need to maneuver it around and Bogaerts can play short. Yeah, absolutely. But it's spring training. You have a limited number of games. You're leaving on a plane in a week for that. And then that final week before the game is so mismatched that you're only playing a couple of games against like Korean teams. He should be maximizing his opportunities in the field on the right side of the infield, unless he's such a mastermind already at second base that he can afford to play short as opposed to second here today. That doesn't make any sense. I don't care what anyone says about that. In fact, you're not on John and Jim today, and I'm leading the show with it because I didn't even think about it until we talked about it. But you're either the second baseman or you're not. You're either selfless or you're not.
Yeah,
you can't be both. You can't be selfless, but I'd like to bat second. No, you're going to bat where they put you, and you're going to play where they put you because you had this the day one of camp. I'm going to do it. It's what's best for the team. I'm going to do everything I can to help win a World Series, whatever it takes, except on Ha-Seong Kim's off days or if he gets hurt. Doesn't make any sense.
I don't get it. And if Ha-Seong Kim's out for the year, knock on wood,
then
it's
you
not.
Can have a conversation.
Then we have a different conversation. But if Ha-Seong Kim's missing a day just because of rest or whatever, why are we putting you back at short?
Right.
I don't know, man. It's just, again, it goes back to this team's roster constructions. It's just god awful roster construction. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree with you. I mean, I think the priority here is who's okay. If you don't add Pham, your lineup is what? If you don't add Pham, who is it? Is it going to be Mercado earns the job? Is it going to be Profar, who's gotten no playing time this spring because they know who he is?
Is that right? That's right. He has no at bats this spring.
No, he has at bats, but like a couple. He has at bats.
Okay,
but very few. I
get
it.
He's
Other
in the
guys are trying to make the team.
He's in the lineup today. Left field.
He's in left.
He's in left today.
Yeah. So okay, you get what you know what you have. I mean, he's never going to hit 310 at this point in his career. He's he'll struggle offensively, but he can play multiple positions and he can field his position well. So without Pham, who's your third baseman if Machado's not in the field? And if Machado is in the field, who's your DH?
Wade.
Okay, so yeah, exactly. I mean, you got
What's his name?
two.
What's his first name?
I don't know. Will Wade. I don't think
Tyler Wade,
the LSU coach or McNeese State coach. But you got two I mean, I hate to put it this way, is it replacement caliber players in your everyday lineup if you don't add? Because you got Jerkson Profar, $1 million flyer, replacement level player, and then you've got some quad A players or DH if Machado's in the field. Plus, you have Merrill, who's never played above AA. So 3 of your 9 are replacement level, and Jackson Merrill.
Like today's lineup, you got Xander leading off, Jake's at first, Tatis, Machado, Profar's in left, Campisano's behind the plate, Merrill in center, Wade is at third base, and Eggy Rosario is at second. That's a
So Rosario could be
that is a
baseman.
very realistic lineup at some point in this season.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very realistic lineup this year. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we don't see some type of this version of this lineup this season, where you're like, oh, okay, and especially if you have another regular out of the lineup. Like, is Tatis going to play 162? No. Is Manny going to play 162? I mean, maybe, because the DH might help him. But you're looking at a situation where majority of your lineup, Profar, Campisano, Merrill, Wade, Rosario. Okay.
Yeah. Again, it's like, can you get by with that for a 2-game series? Of course you can. Can you win games? Yeah, of course. But 162, where blemishes become more than that, like where, it's exposing to consistently throw out a lineup that we just go back to a year ago. I mean, they had black holes from 5 through 9. I mean, they didn't hit consistently really anywhere in their lineup. Soto was on base a lot, but other players struggled throughout the course of the year. But, Cronenworth is far from a guarantee. Kim had a very nice year. He's got to do it again. In this lineup, he's got to do it again. And really, Tatis has to take that big step towards 2021. He can't have the same offensive season for this team. I don't expect him to. I think he will take a step forward in 2024, but you need him to take a step forward. But even with all those things happening, you can't typically have a 7, 8, 9 that doesn't provide value in your lineup, 150 games. And I'm not saying that's what's going to play out. Maybe Merrill has a nice rookie year. Maybe they sign Tommy Pham or someone else. But again, you look at it today, and there's reasons to kind of question, roster construction, lineup construction, even heading into the first games of the season, which are 2 weeks away. They just, for whatever reason, have decided to put this off as long as possible.
The roster for like a series is fine. Like it's fine. It's fine. It's not the worst in the world. It's not even close to the best, but like it's fine. You can get away with it for like a couple weeks or so. But what we're hammering home here is the long game, like the long game of this season, and is this roster going to be good enough to withstand the next 6 months? 6 months of baseball, where you can't have. I mean, if Hassan Kim goes down for like a month with an injury, or Tatis or Xander or Manny, that lineup looks dramatically different. Dramatically different. And they don't have the depth to withstand really any injuries in their lineup. And frankly, any injuries in their rotation. Like, that is why we keep hammering this home, is why are they not going out and getting major league pieces for this roster? Because we all know baseball, and the day one roster looks completely different than the day 152 roster. And it could look different in a good way, or it could look different in a really, really bad way. And the bad way is what we're trying to, you want to try to avoid, where you have pieces, depth pieces, that if someone goes down with an injury, boom, guy steps in. And in this case, guy gets an injury on this team, the guy stepping in is not only a complete unknown, but a guy that hasn't even played even close to the big leagues yet. And so signing a guy like Tommy Pham, signing a guy like Eddie Rosario, signing a guy like a Garrett Cooper, in the grand scheme of things, right? You're like, okay, sign a one-war player. Like, who cares?
Yep.
But those are depth pieces that this team just doesn't have. Like, they just don't have any of that. And by having those guys, you can withstand like an injury for a couple weeks or maybe even a month. I'd much rather have a lineup where you're plugging in Tommy Pham or Eddie Rosario or Garrett Cooper. I'm just throwing Garrett Cooper's name out because it's the first thing that came to my mind. Than a Graham Pauley or a Cal Mitchell or a Jacob Marcy.
But and I agree with you. And I go back. I still believe. And again, it's almost to the point for me. I don't know if negligence is the right word, but it seems misguided. If you don't go out and get Duvall, Michael A. Taylor, Tommy Pham, like for every Brad Miller and Tim LeCastro you're bringing in, you should be bringing in the player that's going to earn. And nobody's asking for the $20 million a year player or a multi-year deal. We're asking for a serviceable regular that's an outfielder with experience that has produced and has won. So those players exist. They're available relatively cheap. And are you telling me a team that had a $250 million payroll can't go over 150? And maybe that's the case. They have to have some level of wiggle room, and they have to be willing to act on this. Otherwise, it just seems, again, to me, misguided. Let's get back to this in a moment. We do want to remind you about our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. Jim is in the process of getting an auto insurance policy through our longtime partner here on the Wrap-Up Show, our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz. I have a homeowner's life and earthquake insurance policy through Mark. He is a terrific insurance agent, loves the Padres, is a San Diegan, has been with us since day one, which is all the way back in 2021. If you have any insurance needs, let's say you want to save money, he's going to save you money, $750 or more. Before you renew, get in contact with Mark. Click the link in the description down below. You can get free quotes online. There's his website. Click the link in the description down below or call Mark. We'll talk to you about the Padres and their needs. He texts us all the time about the Padres, but he will save you money. And he's also a great insurance agent. A couple of years ago, I had a claim. He took care of everything. Saved my family thousands, I kid you not, thousands of dollars, dozens of hours of time. Auto, home, business, life, renters, whatever it is. If you have an insurance need, he is a great insurance agent. He's a San Diegan and a huge Padres fan and supports our work. Please get in contact with Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance.
Yeah, I was talking to Mark this morning in the process of getting some auto insurance from him. Go to him right now. mnimitz at farmersagent.com is his email address. Reach out to Mark. Let him know what you need and let him know that the Wrap-Up Show sent you.
So, I mean, I don't see how anyone could disagree with this take that they need to add a major league piece in their lineup. And two things can be true. Jackson Merrill can be a player that's never played above AA that'll get an opportunity in the big leagues, but you can still add a major league regular to your outfield. You can do both things. And right now they seem committed to doing one of the things, which is playing Jackson Merrill, but they don't seem very committed to adding a penny to this roster for whatever reason.
Honestly, John, like the more time goes by in spring training, the less I'm worried about Jackson Merrill. Not because I think he's going to be this like stud player right away, which we all hope he is, but it's we've talked about it. It would be more palatable to go into a season with one spot on this roster and it's taken by Jackson Merrill. Right? You can deal with that. He's surrounded by veteran guys, major league guys. You can deal with that. I'm more worried about the bench and like the 5 through 9 hitters in the lineup or the 6 through 9 hitters in the lineup. The Cal Mitchells, the Jacob Marcys, the Graham Paulies of the world, right? The Tim LeCastros, the who else? Who do they sign? The Brad Millers of the world, right? Like those guys that we might see in the big leagues. Like I'm way more worried about those guys than I am about Jackson Merrill because those guys could be playing a significant amount of time in the big league level this year for this team. And I mean, who knows? Maybe they do well, but there's kind of a reason why those are cast-offs besides the Marcys and the, Graham Paulies, those are prospects, but like the Castros, the Brad Millers, the whoever else they signed, right? Like those are cast-offs. And there's a reason why they're cast-offs. And it just makes so much sense to sign Tommy Pham so you don't have to worry about those risks of putting those cast-offs in the lineup for a significant amount of time and giving them significant at-bats. It just, remember last year, Taylor Colway or whatever, how
Colway, yeah.
He was getting like significant pinch hitting opportunities in the season and he failed at every single one of them. And it was only a couple. Right. And then the Padres like, yeah, we're not doing that anymore. And they sent him down and they whatever. The thing is, with this roster, you're probably going to see a lot of Taylor Colway type of at bats for a good portion of the season because they don't have anybody. They don't have anybody. I mean, this bench, John. Will, I love you, man. People are trying to convince themselves that this bench could be decent. Maybe it could, but oh my God.
I mean, who is the bench? It's the backup catcher. It's like a Rosario type. Who's the bench?
Higashioka, Jose Zokar. You have maybe like Tim LeCastro. All right. Maybe like a Jacob Marcy. Maybe like Eggy Rosario.
Yeah. So I would put that as probably a bottom 3 bench in baseball would be my guess.
Yeah,
bottom 5. I mean, they've got no bench production for years. They've had consistently a bottom 5 bench. It's not like them going from a bottom 5 bench to a bottom 5 bench is something that's surprising. They get no consistency, no production. They just don't. I mean, they've had the catchers like a couple of years ago, whoever that was, who had all the walk-off hits. He didn't hit, but he had those clutch moments. Yeah. Who the hell was that?
Jorge Alfaro.
Yeah, Alfaro, had those clutch moments. But what did he hit that year? Under 200?
No,
probably. He hit
pretty
around
well.
200.
I mean, he did pretty well, and then the end of the season happened, and he just completely got cast off.
I need to see those numbers.
He didn't even play at all.
He didn't play in the postseason.
No.
I need to see those numbers though, real quick, because with San Diego, what the hell did he hit? He didn't hit 417. What the hell am I looking at?
What are you looking at?
Okay, he hit 246. But his OPS was 667, which is fine. He was fine, and he had clutch moments. Like, don't get me wrong. He had clutch moments. You'd love to see that from a player this year. But I'm saying, in terms of that, like, threat off the bench that, like, kills left-handed pitching or murders right-handed pitching and is a professional hitter and is an 890 OPS guy, and all he does is hit. Who is that guy? Ever.
No.
That person doesn't exist, Okay, so in addition to, bench needs, back rotation needs, outfield needs, DH needs, you have Yuki Matsui, who threw a bullpen Tuesday. According to Kevin Acee, reportedly felt good. Hasn't pitched since February 25th. Who knows if he's available when the season opens in 2 weeks. You have Joe Musgrove and Michael King expected to pitch 4 innings each in a quote-unquote B game on Thursday. Higashioka, or whatever his name is, Higashioka, is the only major leaguer scheduled to play in that game, which the Padres arranged in order to keep Musgrove and King on their pitching schedule. Yu Darvish will start a Friday game, which is a night game for the Padres. So it looks like you're kind of lining up, as you've said yesterday, as we know. It's Musgrove, then Darvish, or Darvish, then Musgrove, in some form or fashion when you go to Korea in a week.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good bet. I would like to see Darvish versus Yamamoto and then Musgrove versus Glasnow. I think those are the 2 best matchups you can get. Might not be great for the Padres because Yamamoto and Glasnow could be very, those two, that could be a very formidable 1-2 punch.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, Yamamoto's never pitched in the big league, so, is there any adjustment? It could come.
Could come.
And Glasnow, is he going to be healthy when it really, really, really matters? He may be during the regular season.
Right, but he has some injury history, so that's a problem.
Exactly.
But, Darvish, Musgrove probably will start. Not probably. I think they will start in Korea, games 1 and 2. And, it's going to be fun, but it's also going to be interesting to see how they match up against this Dodger lineup. Because this Dodger lineup, when you throw out a top of Betts, Ohtani, and Freeman, or whatever,
it's solid.
Pretty good. It's pretty good.
Their left fielder that they added was like their 8th biggest addition of the offseason.
Teoscar Hernandez.
And like an $80 million deal.
It was a 1-year, $23 million deal, and he hit
20 plus. The Padres left fielder addition was Jurickson Profar, is making $1 million. Mm-hmm. Can we get somewhere in between? Can we go get the $5 million player like Eddie Rosario, or Tommy Pham, or Michael A. Taylor, or Adam Duvall?
The thing about not spending money this year at all, if this is truly to reset the CBT,
right,
and then go out next offseason to then spend the money, or at least spend the money that you didn't spend this offseason. And hopefully you have some young players develop. Okay. But the thing is, like, they just don't. What's different here is they don't have the luxury of waiting. At least we don't think that. Like, especially AJ Preller, of waiting things out for things to reset, for guys to develop. They are in win now mode. They have said it. They are expecting to contend and compete and make the postseason and try to win a World Series for the first time in franchise history. Does any of that sound like to you, we'll wait this thing out? No.
No, it's a good point. You're saying they don't run like in unison.
And it would be another and the Dodgers, that what they did last offseason is what the Padres are doing this offseason. Nothing. And the difference is the Dodgers won 100 plus games last year.
100 on the nose, right?
And their roster, at least their lineup was really good. Their pitching staff had problems, but they still managed to get through it because that organization is well run. And Andrew Freeman is one of the best general managers in all of baseball. AJ is not. He's not even close. And if this team was winning 90, 100 games a year and winning NL West titles, you can afford to have an offseason where you do absolutely nothing to reset whatever you're trying to reset and gear up for next offseason and give guys opportunities to develop, because you have a little cachet. Hey, by the way, if you have anything to say about me, let me show you all the 100-win seasons we've had in the last decade, and also all the NL West titles and all the playoff appearances that we've had. Like, you have a little wiggle room. AJ has no wiggle room. And that's the difference here. Because if you don't make the postseason this year, but you have guys develop, how can you justify? I just don't. I mean, it's great that you have some guys that develop, but again, you missed the postseason in the primes of your highest paid players' careers.
Yeah, and Eric Xander said like a week ago, we're all accountable for the team's performance and absolutely did not protect AJ Preller the way Peter Seidler previously publicly had vouched for Preller. Let's get back to this conversation in a moment. Who wants to do some spring training Cactus League action with us today?
Yes.
On Underdog Fantasy, easiest place to play, the best place to play. You can win 20 times your money. In fact, you can actually win 100 times your money in a single day. Again, with the Pick'em game, you go 2 for 2, you're winning 3 times your money. You go 3 for 3, you're winning 6 times. You go 4 for 4, you're winning 10 times. You go 5 for 5, you're winning 20 times. With insurance, you can get one wrong and still win. Use promo code PODSWRAP, that's PADSWRAP, and double your first deposit up to $100. Promo code PODSWRAP, that is PADSWRAP. Double your first deposit up to $100. Underdog Fantasy app or at underdogfantasy.com, or click the link in the description down below. Let me show you how easy this is. Jim knows. I've already gotten a play in today with Vasquez, Ashcraft.
Of course you did.
And someone else. I'm going to do another play here for Padres Reds, which is starting in like 30 minutes. So who wants to join? Let's go with Ellie De La Cruz, lower than 5.5 fantasy points. Is Machado in the lineup? Apparently he is.
He is.
We'll go higher on Machado. And Mr. Shortstop Xander Bogaerts will go higher. So you go 3 for 3 here, and 20 pays 111. Okay? Simple as that. You go 3 for 3. Here's the deal. You go 2 for 3, 20 pays $55.80 if you insure it. That's what I'm going to do right now. 20 pays $55.80. I just did it actually on the app. That's what. But it's that easy. Underdogfantasy.com or on the app. Simple pick'ems, higher or lower, fantasy points, totals. So easy to play. Jim, we've both been playing a ton here recently.
Yeah.
Cactus League, NBA, regular season, Korea series, whatever it is. Use promo code PODSWRAP and take advantage of a 100% deposit match up to $100.
Yep, do it right now. Get ready and for the regular season, because we'll be doing a lot of Underdog Fantasy for the regular season. Can't wait.
Click that link in the description down below. Get involved. Play today if you're here live. Play some Cactus League action. Double your first deposit. Again, win. Best and easiest place to play fantasy sports is underdogfantasy.com. Let's get to the super chat. Guys, if you're here live or on replay, we appreciate your support of the channel. We have year-round content for you. Year-round Padres content. Smash the like button, subscribe, follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. We appreciate your super chats. It's a great way to support our work. click the $ below the chat box. We appreciate your memberships. If you want emojis and badges, you can click the join button down below. Thank you, Fred Slots and Stuff, for the super chat. He says, the question is, does the level of Tommy Pham's douchiness outweigh his ability to contribute to the team? I mean, this is a guy, Fred, that was sought after last year at the deadline and then helped guide a team in the postseason, or both to a postseason and then to a World Series, and was in the middle of their lineup as well with the Diamondbacks. So I think all accounts inside a clubhouse, Jim, is he is well-liked, a hard worker, gets early work in. Players kind of tend toward, he tends to take players under his wing. That's been discussed by Dennis Lin. So yeah, I think Tommy Pham, despite what people may think from the outside, and people have opinions, I think no matter what your opinion is, I think he can be valuable in a clubhouse.
I mean, let's face it, his first time here was not good. It wasn't.
It was not.
2020, he was in and out of the lineup, had COVID a couple times. 2021, just was, I think from his standards, a disaster because of the incident in the offseason. But also that was a major injury. And it took him a while to kind of get back to himself. And you saw what he did with the Mets and then the Diamondbacks, and then you kind of saw a little bit with the Reds. But if you get Tommy Pham fully healthy, no distractions, not coming off of this major, unfortunate injury that he sustained in that offseason when he was here with the Padres, I think you could get a good version of Tommy Pham. His douchiness, to your point there, Fred's, he reminds me of a guy when he's actually healthy and contributing. He reminds me of if you're Draymond Green. Because everybody hates Draymond Green. But when Draymond Green's playing well, playing good defense, all that stuff, if he's on your team, you love him. Now, Tommy, if he doesn't do that, you're kind of like, what are we doing here? You're just like, why is he? Now he has a little bit of cred because he's won 4 NBA titles. But my point is, if Tommy Pham's on your team and he's a douche and whatever the case may be, yelling, stuff like that, if he's performing, then you love him on your team. You want that guy on your team. You just do. So yeah, I'm looking at that from just a sheer major league player standpoint. I rather have Tommy Pham on this team than Cal Mitchell on this team playing in the Tommy Pham role, or the Jacob Marcy playing in the Tommy, I
mean, look at it this way. Pham's been in the big leagues, 10, 11 years? And I think something like 9 of the 11 years, his team has finished over 500, which, again, I don't know if it's a direct correlation or not, but he's been in postseasons. He's helped teams in postseasons like Arizona this past year. Shoot, he helped Arizona get to the postseason last year. They were left for dead until they took 5 of 7 from the Padres in August when their season was essentially over. And that's after they acquired Tommy Pham. So listen, I think some of the criticism is absolutely fair when it comes to Pham, but in terms of what he means for a team, potentially, both in the clubhouse and on the field based on what he did last year, it was a very nice year. Again, not perfect, but his overall numbers with the Mets and with the Diamondbacks last year justifies someone paying him a reasonable number here in 2024. And there's no team with more of a need than the Padres. Let's get to Richard Flores with the super chat. Thank you, Richard. Again, if you are here, please subscribe. Year-round Padres content. If you're here, thank you for the super chats. Click the $ below the chat box. Richard, who is a Dodger fan, thank you, Richard, says there's no way the roster as it stands now can go a full 162. Well, they can go 162. I don't know what their record will be. Padres putting all of their eggs in Jackson Merrill's basket is risky. I don't know if they're putting all of their eggs there, because if he doesn't hit, I doubt he'd be there all year. But yeah, I think there is a level of risk, isn't there, Jim, to start in the year with someone that's never played above AA in your opening day lineup and in the outfield, which is he's never played either.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, it would be one thing if it was just one roster spot and Jackson Merrill made it, and we had concerns about Jackson Merrill making this big of a jump so soon in his career without, playing a significant amount of time in the minors and also changing positions to center field, which is not an easy position, by the way. But it's not just what they're doing is they're putting all their eggs into their minor league systems basket, not just Jackson Merrill. They're putting all of their eggs into their young talent basket, and they're going to ride and die with that. If it works out, then it will have worked out for the first time in Preller's career. And if it doesn't work out, it will be the same old story. Rushed guys too quickly, didn't develop them right, and they fizzled out. That's what they're doing this year.
Yeah, there's risk here. I mean, you know, there was risk with their strategy a year ago. I mean, they completely, you know, they missed the mark completely. Coming off an NLCS, I mean, nobody in that organization, certainly the fan base, but in the organization thought they were going to miss the postseason. I mean, we heard AJ Preller a few months before 2023 talk about you get Juan Soto for 3 pennant runs. They got him for 1 and traded him away. So that's all you need to know about what they expected and what actually occurred. So I don't know what they expect here in 2024, but I know that they've missed the mark previously in terms of expectations. So they might be wishful and optimistic and hopeful. And I'm all for that. And Jackson Merrill could get out of the gates and play well. You could look up in 20 games and he could be hitting 300 and helping the team win. But still, the question should be asked, what happens in the next 20 games? Right. Like any player. So believe me, there's a microscope and a magnifying glass on them. If the team plays well, you'll overlook anything. If they don't play well, there'll be a lot of attention, in my opinion, turned towards Jackson Merrill. And
but don't you like, the more we talk about it, doesn't it? What scares you more, Jackson Merrill or everybody else? And not, and
well,
by
when you say everyone else,
else,
do you mean that the everyone else that isn't the Machado, Tatis, Bogarts conversation?
Yeah. The bench, the Mitchells,
I'm with you.
the Marcys, the, you know.
Yeah. Everyone else.
Yeah. Everybody else. That is the closer we get to spring, the closer we get to opening day, the more I think about it, that scares me more. The back end of their rotation, the unprovenness with a lot of guys, the like who's on this team. That is what scares me the most, looking at this team going through 162 games. Not Jackson Merrill. Jackson Merrill, I'm cautiously optimistic about. I'm hoping he does well, but this team has bigger problems on their hands right now, and it is constructing a like competent major league roster.
Guys, new gear for a new year. You can check it out. Brand new wrap-up show cap, t-shirts like me and Jim are both wearing, and you can see on your screen right now. Take a look at our brand new wrap-up show gear.
Stickers.
Yep. Click the link pinned in the top of the live chat or down below in the description. We have sweatshirts. Look at Jim when he doesn't do his hair, right? That's good looking. You look good. We have hats. We have women's gear. Okay. So we have men's and women's gear. We have all kinds of offerings. The shirt I'm wearing right now, this is me when I don't do my hair. In addition, okay. In addition, look at this. Like you said, we got stickers, okay? But hold on, there's more. There's more. When you click all products, look at the brand new John and Jim 98 themed gear now available, okay? John and Jim gear.
Okay.
Not just 98. Today's version as well of John and Jim, right? Brown and gold. So we have John and Jim merchandise. We have wrap-up show merchandise. The season starts in 2 weeks. Gear up. Click the link pinned in the top of the chat or in the description down below. Get on board. Wear it when you're out. Wear it to Petco Park. Wear it when you're in Korea. And support the channel in the process as well. And look like Jim Russell or John Schaefer.
Yep. Look like us. Look like us.
That's a good thing, right?
It's a good thing if you're me.
Aaron, arguably. Like you, yeah.
True.
Okay, so today, Padres Reds in Peoria. Padres leaving a week. I think there's one quote-unquote off day in there. Is that accurate? Between now and Korea. Yeah,
that'll travel, and then there's
tomorrow. They're off tomorrow. And then they close with, again, night game against the Giants Friday where Darvish will pitch. I think it's their only night game. It is. It's their only night game before Korea. Now they'll play some night games in Korea before playing the Dodgers. But they're off tomorrow. They have a night game on Friday. They'll play 5 or 6 consecutive days, then leave on the 13th, and then play the 17th and the 18th in Korea against Team Korea and against a Korean team, the LG Twins. the 19th off, and then they'll play at 3 in the morning on the 20th and the 21st to kick off the season, which leads us to this conversation. We will have a live watch party for Padres fans, baseball fans at 3 in the morning. This was Jim's idea. 3 in the morning, March 20th and 21st for the entire game. Another reason to subscribe. Join us as we react in real time to the opening of the 2024 season, one of Jim Russell's best ideas.
Now, when you say best idea, do you actually mean worst idea?
Correct.
Yeah.
But if we're doing it, you guys got to be here, right? Like if we're doing it, we're going to be up and you guys are going to be up. So like use us as a second screen. You're watching, and you can turn the volume down and turn the volume up on us.
I'll be like this the whole time.
Oh, you're going to be dead, dude.
But we'll be watching.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We will. Oh, you know what? By the way, remember we gave away a Foco. We gave away a Fernando Tatis straw cap from Foco.
Yeah.
Right now on Instagram, you can enter to win a Foco Big Head Manny Machado bobblehead. This is Tatis as the big head. Mm-hmm. You can enter right now on Instagram. Go to Instagram right now if you're here live or on replay, and you'll see it. Just search for John and Jim, JONANDJIM, and enter to win this bobblehead. By the way, our brand new partnership with Foco, you're getting 15% off non-discounted items with promo code WrapUpShow15. So you're getting 15% off this year through our partnership with Foco. You can click the link in the description down below. Look at all their gear for the upcoming season, by the way. I mean, everything you need. The bobbleheads are spectacular. They got the Blake Snell Cy Young. Your last chance to see Blake Snell in a Padres uniform. Look at him. I mean, that's Blake Snell, right? In addition to Snell, I mean, they've got the camo overalls, which have been popular. They have the friendship bracelets. All these bobbleheads sell out. I mean, the Machado stuff is sold out. The big head, limited availability. By the way, if you go to Instagram right now, this is what you're entering to win. A Manny Machado big head bobblehead priced at $55. Enter to win right now. Follow us on Instagram. Search for John and Jim, JONANDJIM. But again, use promo code WrapUpShow15 and get 15% off non-discounted items by clicking the link in the description down below. You love your Foco bobbleheads, which are right behind you right now, right, Jim?
Yeah, I got a Tatis one. The Hassan Kim is the giveaway from last year. And then I got the special Don in Mud right here. Shout out to Rich McGuire. And I got my Thor little figure right there.
All right. Click that link in the description down below. Use promo code WrapUpShow15 for 15% off. And again, go to Instagram, search for John and Jim, and enter to win that Manny Machado big head. Oh, bobblehead. That one, Homie's Garage says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. He says, I feel like the Padres know it's a developmental year, but do not want to tell the fans. Why else won't they fill out the roster? I don't know. But aren't they kind of telling? And we tend to agree with that, by the way, but aren't they kind of telling by their actions or lack thereof?
Because they can't come out and say it's a developmental year and we'll see what happens because of the players you already have on this roster and the money you committed to these players on this roster. Imagine having two $30 million players on your roster, along with a $280 million player, a pitcher that makes 20 plus million a year, and then another pitcher that has signed over $100 million contract and saying, you know what? This is a transition year for us.
Right.
Like, imagine saying that. It just doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make any sense. That to me is just verbal suicide. If you like, the fans will literally be like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right. You've moved like a record number of season tickets the last 2 years. You can't say anything other than we're competing to win.
And speaking of tickets, you have jacked the ticket prices up by whatever amount of percent. And so you've signed all these players to these ridiculously large contracts. You've raised ticket prices again, coming off of 82 wins. You've cut your payroll by $100 million, and you've signed no one of significance for your everyday lineup at all this offseason. And you traded away your best player, and you let your Cy Young Award winner walk.
But other than that, how was the play?
Correct.
Miss Lincoln.
Correct.
Yeah. I mean, not only is it a big year, it's a big April. Like, you cannot afford anything other than reasonably good play. Like, getting out to a bad start,
And
I don't
even
even
if you,
know what happens at that point.
and even if you start at the end of April, you're 500, I'll take that. But you can't all of a sudden get in a hole like you did last year where you're continuously trying to climb out of it throughout the entire
Right.
season.
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
problem.
I agree with that. That's why you got to sweep in Korea or the season's over, like we've been saying.
Correct. Yeah, fire everybody if they don't win 2 games in
Yeah.
Korea.
I think if you don't win in Korea, 2 games, not 1, I think the season clearly is.
Trade everybody, just screw it. Don't even come to Pecco. Just let it, just whatever.
Yeah. All right, guys. Join us today, John and Jim, San Diego Sports 760 at 3 p.m. Jim's having a procedure done. We don't need to get into the specifics. He may be on the show in the second half of the show. The odds are probably minus 22,000. He won't be on the show, but he may be on the show in the second half of the show. This is a guy that doesn't do a show because he's sneezing. I doubt he's coming in after having a medical procedure done at 3 in the afternoon, but stay tuned for that.
Yes.
Special guests, by the way. Unannounced guest on the show today. Jim doesn't even know.
Who you having on,
Right?
like Soda?
Stay tuned. 3 p.m. John and
Dayton?
Jim.
Dayton.
Join us. I will tell you this, Kyle Glazer, Baseball America, will talk to us about the Padres roster at 3:10 while Jim is having that procedure done. But Kyle Glazer is on the show. We've got a couple of guests lined up. So join us today, John and Jim. You can find us on YouTube by searching for John and Jim 760. If you are new here, please subscribe year-round Padres content. Smash the like button. Follow us on Twitter at John Schaefer, at Jim Russell SD. I'm going to get to the super that just rolled in. By the way, we appreciate the super thanks if you're here on replay. We really do. And thank you for your memberships as well. HBVVVPPPPPJJJJ, thank you, says, what's worst or worse, X's or Russell Wilson's contract?
Deshaun Watson's contract.
I would say Russell Wilson right now.
Russell Wilson's one of the worst contracts in the history of sports.
Not just a bad contract, and it was a bad trade, right? It was not just a contract. They had to give up pieces to acquire him, didn't they?
His contract, it's crazy because like his contract was horrible, and they're going to cut him. But I mean, this is the Padres channel, so I'm not going to talk about it. But just look at the Deshaun Watson contract, and then you're going to be like, "Holy shit, that thing is a freaking joke." He's making like his cap hits like $65 million. Worst contract in the history of sports.
Padres channel, Daniel, but join us at 3 p.m. We'll be talking about San Diego State and what's to come for the Aztecs, including senior night, Friday night for the Aztecs on the Mesa. All right, support our partners, our title sponsor, Mark Nimitz at Farmers Insurance. If you have an insurance need, he can help. Before you renew, get in contact with Mark, our title sponsor. Click the link in the description down below. Again, promo code PODSWRAP, PADSWRAP, a 100% deposit match at underdogfantasy.com. And again, use wrap-up show 15 at FOCO by clicking the link at the description down below and get 15% off non-discounted items at FOCO, FOCO.com. Until 3 p.m. For Jim, I'm John. This has been the wrap-up show. Thanks, guys.
Peace out. Bye.